Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 858 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky had a detailed interview with the US outlet The Philadelphia Inquirer, reports Ukrainska Pravda. According to his press service, the president believes that the ratio of irreversible losses among Ukrainians and Russians on the battlefield is now 1-6. Previously, the ratio was approximately 1-4, and now on the Kharkiv and Pokrovsk fronts, the numbers are 1-6. Quote, "No, I'm not implying that we must fight till the end and that we have enough people. I just wanted to let you know that all these discussions about a vast number of people, millions of Russians, yes, they are correct, but the war is technological and whoever owns more technologies will prevail," unquote. In response to the question of how Ukraine might overcome Russia's superiority in terms of population and weaponry, Zelensky suggested that the West obstruct the opportunity for Russians to evade sanctions in the production of drones and missiles. At the same time, Ukraine must finance its own drone and missile manufacture. He also stated that Russia earns the most from selling oil and gas, but starting in 2025, Russia will fall economically. Zelensky emphasized that Russian President Vladimir Putin is terrified of an angry Russian society. Volodymyr Zelensky believes that Russian ruler Vladimir Putin puts Russia's relations with China at risk by making agreements with North Korea, and it's a good signal for Ukraine. Asked whether China wants to throw a fork into America's eyes by indirect support for Russia, Zelensky stated, quote, "The meeting between Putin and North Korea is a fork thrown into Xi Jinping's eyes. Putin is still afraid of China, but he has no choice," unquote. Zelensky stated that over 100 participants of the peace summit in Switzerland and the shrinking numbers of Russian artillery had made Putin seek such allies as North Korea. The head of state noted that North Korea's stockpiles of shells without taking into account current production amount to roughly 5 million. It is less than Russia used in the war against Ukraine since the beginning of the year. Zelensky also believes that Western countries should persuade China to leave the alliance with Russia. Quote, "China is afraid that without Russia, the relations between China and the US will become even more complicated. They see Putin as a restraining factor. I'm trying to divert China's attention from Russia and engage it in our process. And I think that whatever difficulties there are, Europe and America should try to disconnect China from Russia. I think it will be more fair and make more sense," unquote. President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he sees just one model for negotiations with Russian leader Vladimir Putin at the moment, in a way similar to the Grain Corridor Agreement. Back then, Ukraine reached an agreement with the UN and Turkey rather than Russia. After that, UN and Turkey signed the equivalent agreement with Russia. Zelensky said that the plan of advisors to US presidential candidate Donald Trump, which provides for possible territorial concessions, is a bad idea, reports Ukrinform. Zelensky noted that he doesn't know how to end the war in a day. The head of state said that Ukraine's territorial concessions will not solve the situation, as Putin needs to feed his society with information about pseudo-victories. So the master of the Kremlin needs to be put in his place. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The president of Ukraine opposed the journalist's proposal to use a lottery-based approach to choose people for mobilization in Ukraine, something which the US government resorted to during the Vietnam War in 1969. He stated that Ukrainian military leadership developed the plan for the required number of mobilized people, which is currently being implemented. Zelensky pointed out the Vietnam War wasn't fought on American soil and wasn't an existential war for the US. Russia continues strikes against the civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. Yesterday, a man was killed and 10 others were injured, including an 8-year-old child, all as a result of a guided aerial bomb hit on the terminal of Nova Poshta courier service in Kharkiv, reports NVUA. The attack destroyed a post office and 7 trucks. Kyiv also came under attack, but the air defense managed to down all missiles. At the same time, remnants of one of the missiles damaged a residential building, causing fire. 6 civilians had a reaction to stress and needed medical care. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, when a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.